I was trying to have this all nice and organized and a mess. So I figured today I would share with you guys my favorite books of 2022, my top books, the books that were the best. Did I read a ton of books this year? No. Did I reach my goal? No. But that's okay. You want to know why? Because I learned a lot this year with reading and being more intentional about what I read, trying to figure out what I like even more, because I've been reading since I was little. You know, when I was little, I would get punished by them taking away my books. So I do have a decent stack of books here, so I figured I'd just go right into it. Do I want to start it? Just gonna go right into it because there's quite a bit here. So the first book, I just picked a Dee Henderson book. I've enjoyed all of her books. I have realized that I really like her as an author. Hello, buddy. I've really been enjoying the O'Malley series. I've mentioned it tons of times. If you watch any of my reading vlogs, you know that I like the O'Malley series. So I figured I would just mention her first. The book was right there. This is the first one. The Negotiator. First on the pile, so it's the first one I'm going to talk about. I like Dee Henderson. I'm going to read more Dee Henderson next year, and I'm going to finish the series by next year. I have 2 more books to read, and then I'm done with the series. So that is the plan. The next book is a book I read at the beginning of the year, and it's The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas, and I really enjoyed this book. I feel like I should mention Dee Henderson is a Christian author, so this is a Christian romance, a suspense romance. It's a clean read. The most any of the couples have done is a kiss, and not even in all the books. So this book I read at the beginning of the year, and I really enjoyed it. I love her writing style. It was very easy to get into, but I know not everyone likes these type of books. It is a fake dating trope, and I enjoyed it. So it's kind of it's fake dating, and then they are kind of enemies to lovers type of things. This book is not clean. There are some spicy scenes in here. There wasn't a ton. I don't remember exactly where it was, and I wish I did. I'm gonna see if I can look up what did they call it? Clean closed door modifications. That's something I want to start doing next year when I read books, is if I realize that I can't do that if I read an ebook. I'm gonna say I can mark when it starts and when it ends, and then can let you guys know, because I follow someone on Instagram. I'll leave her link down below, and she does that for books that have spicy scenes. But yeah, this one is not a clean book. The next book on my pile is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This is the first book I read by her, and which made me realize I liked her as an author. I did read Beach Read by her. It's a little slower, so this one was definitely more my favorite. She has a new book coming out next year, so I'm super excited about that. But I did enjoy this. It's definitely small town for him, and they're kind of enemies to lovers. I really enjoyed it. It's not a clean book, but it's not nothing crazy. There really wasn't a lot. There's more sexual tension a lot. But just that warning. But yeah, but I really enjoyed this book, and I love books about people that do books, apparently, because there's more of it. Or there's a couple more, but I just think it's funny because I actually have a few on my shelf that I need to read that are about people that write books. The next book is The Do-Over by Bethany Turner, and she is a Christian too, but not necessarily writing Christian romance, but it is clean romance, which I really enjoyed. I really like this book because it's about a girl, and she's not a girl, she's a woman, and she basically is finding herself through terrible life situations that are happening to her. Nothing crazy, but she's just learning a lot about who she is and who she thought everyone else was around her, and how she treats people, and there's just a lot of growth in her character that I really liked, and I felt a connection. So I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed Bethany Turner's writing, so I want to read more of her books. The next book I have here is Meet Me in the Margins by Melissa Ferguson. She is also a Christian, but writes more of just clean romance, and I really enjoyed this. It's about a girl who is a writer but also works for a publishing house. There is, it's clean, it's good, it's funny. This book made me laugh. I remember just chuckling every time I was reading it out loud, and I don't do that a lot, but I really did enjoy this book. Loved it. Hey, coffee. I do have some Christian faith books here. I didn't pull out all the ones that were impactful to me, just the ones that I really, really, really enjoyed and felt like they should be up here. So, another book I read was Christina Lauren, The Soulmate Equation. I read this book and realized I love Christina Lauren's writing. It's two people, Christina Lauren. There's someone else that's two people too. I don't even know. But I really enjoy her writing. There is spice. I cannot tell you where it's at. I will say they're not like chapters long of spice. So that's good. You wanna say hi? Okay. Ooh, buddy, no licking. We don't do lickies. I'm allergic. So yeah, I really love anything Christina Lauren. I've read a few of her books now, and I still really like her. I like the way she writes. Obviously a secular author, so there's going to be things of the world in, these books. But yeah, I enjoy her books. The next book is Pray Confidently and Consistently by Valerie Warner. I love this book. I have bought a copy for my mom and my friend, which I still have to give to her. But I annotated this book to no end, highlighted, underlined, added sticky notes. It was just so good. And if you're struggling, honestly, not even just with prayer, but in your faith and just struggling or need that pick me up, this book is so good. I read it slowly. It took a while. It took a couple months. And it's not hard to read. It's just, I just take forever reading these books. But it was really good. Every chapter was just so different. She breaks down stumbling blocks that keep us from prayer, and honestly that just hinder our relationship from God, that are things that we don't even need to be focused on. So I thought this was an excellent book. I recommend this to everyone and anyone. Read it. It's great. It's amazing. Let's put that there. The next book I have is Liberated Through Submission by P.B. Wilson, and it's about God's design for freedom in all relationships. And I really like this book. It's definitely specifically written for women, and it's just about submission, what submission is, who are we to submit, what biblical submission looks like. And I know submission, people hear that word and they freak out. It's a word that's been abused in Christianity and just in everything in our society. So I think when people hear it and they hear that, the verses where it says the wife is to be submissive and blah, 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 we're all called into submission. And I think she does an excellent job at breaking down how single people are called into submission, married women, men, and who we submit to. And I think she does a great job. It's such an easy read. She tells her stories and it's great. It's definitely a read every woman needs to read, whether you're strong-willed or not, whether you think you understand submission or not, whether you're afraid of the word submission. I think she does a great job. And I really enjoyed it. Ooh, buddy. I like what she says in the back. It says, a strong woman married a strong man. P.B. Bunny Wilson struggled to understand godly submission. As she studied God's word, the truth liberated her. Every man, woman, and child is called to submit. Her provocative conclusion is supported in this clear and thoughtful exploration of submission. So she includes what men should know, what women should know, what submission can give to marriage and the single life, false expectations, and surprising freedom that comes from submission. So if there's any book you're going to read from this pile that I'm telling you guys about, it's these two books. Read one of these two. Read both of them. These are books that I plan on rereading every single year because they were just that great. This was my second time reading this book, and it still blew me away. I didn't annotate it, and I think every time that I read it, I'm going to get something different because my life is always going to be in a different place. So, great books. Another book is The Silent Patient. It is not clean. I find that a lot of suspense books just aren't clean in a weird, I don't know. There's not a lot of it in here, but it's there. But I read this in one day. Not even a full day. It was so good. I did not see the twist at the end. If I can find closed door modifications, because you really don't need any of the spice that's in here. You really don't. I was just flipping through it let's keep going. I need to know more. I need to find out what happened. And it's crazy. I was not expecting anything to happen in this book. It was so good. I really enjoyed it. The next book is Made According to Pattern by C.W. Slumming. I recently just finished this book and it was great. This book talks about the tabernacle and just like what went into building it, all the materials, all that stuff. Very informative in an easy to read way. Like looking at the book, you don't think it's going to be easy to read. You think it's going to be like old English. Also, it's written like early 1900s. Yeah, written in the early 1900s, and this is such an easy read, and it really breaks down everything, because I don't know about you guys. I can read the Old Testament and fall asleep. It's terrible, but it's really a struggle for me to read some parts of the Old Testament, and I have to, like put the audio and all that stuff, and this did a great job at explaining a lot of the things that you read in the Old Testament. So it was nice to read this while I was reading through this part of scripture, because it kind of like helped me see it better, understand it better. Hi. Can I finish this? I have one more set of books to read, or to share. Can I? Alright. So the last, can you guys even hear me? He's covering my mic. Alright, so the last books that I have is a series, and this is the Song of Seare series. And off the bed. So this is the Song of Seare trilogy, and it was amazing. It is a Christian fantasy book, and honestly, I kind of realized it, but didn't realize it going in, and I didn't read like the little beginning part, so the names of things are different. Like God, like since it's a fantasy world, like everything has different names. So at first I was like, what heresy am I reading? And then I realized, like, oh no, she just changed the names. But like, it's in the beginning. I just didn't read that part because I just went straight into the book and, skipped all the important parts so I can understand what's going on. But this is a great trilogy. The second book was actually my favorite. The series was really great. It's like set in the old world. It's fantasy. It's folklore typey. I'm terrible at explaining things, but I really enjoyed these books. It's by Carla Loreno. This is her first like fantasy trilogy that she wrote, and this was it. Like I hated the way it ended. Like I understood why it ended the way it did, and I don't hate it because it was a bad ending. I just hate it because it ended. I wish she would write more. I wish she would expand on other characters. I wish she would just keep writing this. This was so great. I really enjoyed this. Like for fun read and being Christian based, and so good. I didn't think I was a huge fantasy person. Like I used to be when I was younger, but it was more like the vampire and werewolf like phase that, us middle school girls go through. This was so good. It's just so good. Like you see the war against good and evil, about those who believe and don't. Like it was just so good, and I don't know how else to explain it besides saying it was so good. It was so good. So yeah, those are all the books. It's not the end of the month yet, so who knows if I'll read another favorite in the next few weeks. I probably won't. I do have a couple books on my Kindle that I'm planning on reading, and that I'm hoping. I have high hopes for them. But yeah, I haven't really read I've read a few books on my Kindle, and some good books. I just haven't been wowed. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this gives you guys, I was gonna say inspiration. I hope if you guys have not read any of these books that you would be like, oh, maybe I want to read some of those. I will try and find modifications for those other books that I did mention have, little spice. I'll try and leave those down below. Please don't read anything that is going to trigger you or cause you to stumble. Please do not. If you are not a romance reader, don't. Most of these are romance for the most part, but read within your boundaries, read within your convictions, and yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I would love to know what your top 3 books were this year, and yeah, because I need to, build up that, I need to build up my list of books that I want to read next year. I do have a few physical books, but I'm going to be unhauling a lot of these, so a lot of these are not staying. So yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, I will see you guys in my next one.